I swear to God, this week was just like quite something. I'm so done, but I'm also so happy that all whatever happened to me this week. It was so spontaneous. It was so miserable at some points, and it was like very disappointing at some points, and had like a full umbrella of emotions. And that's what I just want to talk about a bit. But first of all, of course, I want to talk about like some really good read on that I found this week. And it feels like someone finally composed whatever was happening in my head about this, like gender misconceptions in the corporate setting, like an entrepreneur setting, doesn't matter in the office or like in your day-to-day conversations and how you interact between, like male, female colleagues. And I found this report by McKinsey, and basically, this is like, the most freshest probably read on you can find on women at workplace. And I will definitely, like we'll do some screenshots or whatever so you can also see what I'm talking about. And basically, this report finally just represented whatever has been on my mind for quite some time. And what does report say? So it's called Women in Business. Oh, sorry, Women in the Workplace 2023. And what does the report say? It just breaks down the most common forms at work in the corporate setting mostly. And one in particular really grasped my attention. So it says the word about microaggressions, and the me sounds as follows. Microaggressions have a micro impact. And reality sounds, microaggressions have a large and lasting impact to a woman. So I'll link the links to this report down below, but basically what it just describes you and elaborates the idea about that sometimes, female, they experience a form of everyday discrimination, right, that is often rooted in the bias. And this sort of like discrimination can be even portrayed as, let's say, a high-pitched voice, or, for example, when your judgment is questioned, or you, for example, been mistaken for someone more junior, right? Or, for example, you've been getting less credit for your ideas, right? I'm just like literally reading now from this report. And to be honest, probably I would not say or like state that I can sign up to, whatever they mention here, but, and like everything they mention here, better to speak. But definitely I see this pattern, especially why eventually I had this kind of, like thoughts in my mind, because sometimes I also see that in a male setting, like in a big group meeting, when there are like a couple of males in the room and I'm the only female in the room, doesn't matter, like either I'm talking about internal events, internal meetings, external meetings, or like external events that I go to. And sometimes I feel like, do the guys in the room like do not say my name and purpose now and just reference to me as like sure she, like, oh yeah, give her the paper, or like yeah, she can do the work? Or is it like the real thing that is happening right now in the room? Or for example, when I'm proposing something and like, one day later I hearing the same thing like from another male colleague of mine, and his idea get like a credit, and I'm like, excuse me? And I'm not going to say much about this report. I like highly, highly recommend you just to go read through this. And they also like a very, I'd say, well-spoken, like composed matter, talk and elaborate a bit more about this concept that because of these microaggressions, we actually tend to self-show at work or adjust the way we look, the way we act. And I think this like also very strong thought in a way, because of the certain patterns that happen in the corporate setting or an entrepreneurial setting, right? Just like at your workplace, you then tend to alter and like tailor your identity and who you are as a person, or at least how you represent and channel yourself as a person, as an individual, right? To this world, to these microaggressions. And I find this like super powerful. And as I said, I was thinking of that, but I never thought that one day I will just, like find such a well-written article or like a full-fledged report, right? Where you can actually like see some numbers or where you can relate to whatever they say here, right? And they also like propose and mention here a couple of, lines in respect to Black women. And in particular, um, I want to read that loud out. I love this line here. Um, it's like I have to act extra happy, so I'm not looked at as a bitter because I'm a Black woman. And a disabled Black woman at that. If someone says something offensive to me, I have to think about how to respond in a way that does not make me seem like an angry Black woman. Black woman with a physical disability entry-level role. So that was said by her. That's like an actual quote. And honestly, even like before reading this report, I've never probably thought of that, like in a way, of course, I'm privileged, right? Because I'm like a white looking girl, kind of like European looking white girl. But when it comes down like, to Black woman, right? That's like a complete other story. So, and you just have to read this, okay? And whatever thoughts you have, or if you don't have any thoughts, but I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one, who can like resonate so much to whatever has been written here. And this miss, by the way, is not the only one thing here. So there are like a couple of 3 other misses compared to the reality thing. Another 3 actually misses. So you can also read that. And if you have any thoughts, or, if you like want to open up a conversation, also drop a line here and tell me in the comment section what was your favorite miss and what do you feel like could be the most thing that you can really relate to. And the second thing what happened this week was I had also a couple of very inspiring conversations with 2 other founders, actually with 3 other founders, but one of the founders probably going to be my next guest for one of the episodes. So this is the lady who had a lot of international backgrounds, and she used to live for some time in Sweden. Like she's from Italy, and now she is settled in Germany for the last almost 2 years. So I'm super, super excited about that. But as you know, just like always, the matter of calendars and whatever. And second lady that I had a talk with just literally like Friday time. And I believe, oh God, believe me, on Friday it was like so much needed because Saturday was such a shit show. And I also talk about that in a minute. But the Friday was just like beautiful. I've done so much work and I connected. I did like quite a few updates with other startups, ecosystem shakers and movers, how I like to call them. And what the lady, she on the call, like, so it was professional, like work call first. And because we're kind of like on very good terms with her, so by the end of the call, I just mentioned to her something about the project, what I'm doing. And then she was like, oh my God, I have to connect you with this lady. And that's also like another thing. I just love how spontaneous things are moving because I feel like when you also, that's a big lesson of this week or like the last couple of weeks, that whenever you open yourself and whenever you tell yourself like, hey, girl, don't be scared of other people. They're not going to hurt you. They are not intentionally want to hurt you. That's not like their intention, right? So be open, talk to people, tell them about your plans, about what excites you the most, or what are you up to, whatever. And apparently this trick really works. So I was super open, and this was just like a very, one of the latest examples. So just, and literally by the end of the call, so like maybe 5 minutes later, when we finished the call, she dropped me a line, and like she connected me to this lady who is a founder of a platform that's called Mempelcom. And basically what they do, it's a bit of like, a story and the same vertical where I try to develop my project back to back now. So what she does, she connects, I'd say, the countries of developed world to the developing world. So let's say she tries to connect via established matching mechanism or like mythology that she and her team did. She connects people or like entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs from Europe with entrepreneurs from South Africa. And this is happening in a sort of like this P2P training. So basically, they have to set up their challenge, the issues, their industry, like vertical, where they want to like really work together and they want to learn from each other. And that's just how they match. And I think in the span of like 6 months, so they do these meetings, let's say once per 2 weeks, per 3 weeks. It very much depends on availability and like on the schedule of those people. And that's how they, like they develop, they unite, they also cooperate in terms of like ideas, and they, just like generate maybe some sort of like brainstorming sessions to also come up with different ideas, solutions, how to tackle, or maybe like come up with a new product, whatever, right? So, but I was having conversation with her like maybe for a good hour, and I was just like listening to her was almost my jaw at the floor, and I was like, wow, and she gave me a bit of another push, I'd say, and I will see. I have like so much food for thought from her now after that call that I just wanna like take my moment now to reflect about how I can also, like further develop this connection. But I found this concept like amazing, and she's been working on this project for I'd say the last like 5 or 6 years, and she's doing like that really by purpose and not by, making like profit or money. And I think this is just beautiful, and I want to really, to support it, like even discover more projects like that, or like founders like that, or also, females who would probably inspire as well me in the first place, and also, who contribute to the world in such a big manner. And kind of also, finishing on what has been happening this week, because, the ecosystem, and as I said, the Friday was just like so good after such a bad Thursday, because on Thursday, um, I'd say I make like because of a bit of a misunderstanding. So oh, I was almost not let into a certain event that eventually I came all the way to Munich for, but it was kind of like, also a funny story because the guys, so I mean, apparently, the registration for event, of course, it was like super clear that you have to be either an investor or a startup, but because I'm kind of like in the middle, right? So I'm not the target audience of event, but so, and the organizers, they almost didn't want to let me in, but because I was like invited by someone else, so they just cleared that out. But um I'd say that was like even a funny part of this day, right? But the rest of the day was just like literally all these small things happening. And why am I telling this? Because again, I'd say that maybe the whole thing of this video is just like really to tell you a bit more about some happenings, like, or some realizations, or even about this report as a microaggression. So to talk a bit about like, very emotional state of mind, like mental things, or stuff like that. And so on Thursday this week, I really went through like whole roller coaster of emotions, and starting from the very moment, when I was almost not let into this event, when I was like literally a bit of an impression, because I didn't expect that to happen at all. Although it ended quite funny at the end, but at the very beginning, I was like, what is going on here, And I didn't know in a certain moment. And imagine it was like a bunch of other males in the room, okay? And two other males at the counter, but not that sort of like males who, oh, sorry, females at the counter, but not that sort of like females who would be kind of like supportive, but, they would rather be like an opposite. And I just don't like that. And because this is just not, I'd say, very like usual case for me. I'm not, I haven't been taught, or I haven't taught myself yet how to behave well in these cases, or like how to control my emotions in that cases. And because before that very moment, like a bunch of other bad stuff happened, starting from my mom calling me that we have like some issues with our travel that we have planned for November, end of November, to celebrate her birthday. And I, like coming through that, also horrible weather. And then I also was like, a bit puzzled because of like so many work things that I had to do, like also in parallel because of some other people, and them not complying to their timelines and to their responsibilities and to their tasks. So it was like a bit of a lot, to be honest. And that's why I'm saying that that day, although it was like super bad and like very much drowning in terms of like that umbrella of emotions that I experienced, but at the same time, I also realized that apparently my routines, they are doing the job for me, because I also had like my gym bag with me. I knew that event going to be happening literally at the same building where I have my gym. Pure accident. So I don't know how that happened. So I had my gym bag, that was like really relief for me because I could do my session. I did some chest workout, and then, like I kind of took my breaths a bit. I kept myself, like a bit calm and relieved in a way. And that was very needed. So that was like a good thing for me to really kind of prove test that yes, my routines, they do well, and they actually work for me. Also, I realized that apparently, just like by talking slower and to really, taking a pause and at even some moments not to respond to people like same second in when the conversation flowing. I never did that before, but it just like happened automatically this Thursday to me. And that's kind of like show me another trick with myself, how I can actually control my emotions. So that was like a really, really cool thing to me. And I was, at the end of the day, I was super grateful for Thursday because, again, this couple of like last weeks, coming from this report to talks with different founders, then this Thursday, like a bunch of different situations and cases here and there, I really see that now I come to this point where I enjoy to observe and also to see how different tricks and mm, how shall I say, like methods or applications can actually help me, to work out my emotions. And I think this is like very, very important to also register that and check in with yourself. Okay, did that work? Did that probably maybe not work for me today? Or how do I also keep track of my promises that I do to myself, right? So this like week, or maybe the last 2 weeks, been quite like big for me. And that's why, because I'm super happy, like now how I'm doing with my emotions. And I'm also, like seeing that I have this small routines here and there. So I decided that um I will also try, like, to journal that as much as possible now, because I mean, I used to do that before, but sometimes I would do that like only in my head, but not on the paper. And now I also like want to be more consistent with that. And I think that's like super, super important. And another big thing also, like what helps me to, like control my emotions, or maybe to also reflect on my emotions, is like to read more. So that's another big thing that I want to implement to myself, to like my routines right now. And maybe all this also happening because, as I said, like next week it's my birthday and I'm turning 26, and it feels like super weird because you're not like super, I mean, you're not in your early 20s anymore, but you're not in your late 20s, so you're like kind of in the middle, but you're transitioning. Um, so yeah, that's why like a lot of weird thinking happening in my head. And to be honest, I don't want to like even talk even more because I think I've said enough. And as I said, I will just, like leave whatever links I have down here in this video. But very important thing, so because I had like a bunch of orders coming to me, like I ordered some shoes, some really cool shoes, by the way. I'm sure you'll look. This is gonna be my auburn shoes. But I really don't know if I need this gloves or not, because I got this North Face gloves. Because, I live in Europe and it's damn cold here. Not like Siberia, but still. It was super like humid here. And I don't know, like they're super cute, but the thing is I kind of have the same pair of gloves, like a very similar one, but because this like North Face, I don't know, should I like kept them or not? They look kind of cute, so right? Yeah, I also got like a bunch of other stuff by the ones, but the other stuff unfortunately didn't fit me well. I also like got this happy from North Face in this orange color, but no, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm very much into orange recently, like ordering orange. I also got this like salmon almost color gym leggings, but those I'm obsessed with. I'm obsessed with them now, but this can't be done. And then I got this Ralph Lauren, or however you spell into brands cap. But I'm also not sure if I want to use it or not, because it looks kind of weird on me, to be honest. I don't know. I'm not like a cappy person, but yeah, maybe I'll keep it, maybe not, as my birthday gift for my next week. I don't know, but whatever. I think the gloves should stay, right? They're kind of cute. Bye, and see you in the next one.